It's officially fall and Dixie Belle has launched a new fall color line. Welcome back to Dixie Belle's YouTube channel on this Wednesday for a surprise video launch. Dixie Belle has launched 5 new fall colors and I am so excited to be able to showcase them for you guys today. I'm going to show you all 5, but I'm only going to be using one on this dresser here. These are a limited release color line and they only come in the 16 ounces, so definitely get them while you can. The first color is Cashmere, which is kind of a creamy color, and this is actually the color I'm going to be using on this dresser here. The next color is Juniper, which is a very pretty olivey green. And then we've got Merlot, which is a very rusty red color. Pumpkin Spice, who doesn't love pumpkin spice? This is a kind of a mustard yellow, but a little bit toned down from the actual bold mustard. And then we've got Latte, and that kind of honestly looks like a latte. I'm so excited about these colors because they're nothing like Dixie Belle has ever had before. We are going to go ahead and get started by removing our hardware so that we can get onto the paint. So you guys, this hardware is, for the lack of a better term, very ugly in my opinion. So I'm going to be removing it and I'm actually just going to be setting it aside to never be used again because I just think that this is very outdated and that it shouldn't be used on any flips. Okay, as you can see, underneath the hardware is just a whole bunch of dirt and dust from over the years, and that's why it's important to remove the hardware before you move on to the next step, which is cleaning. So I've got my White Lightning here and I actually poured a little bit into my bottle and then it dissolved. So now we've got a bottle of White Lightning, which is just a lot easier to spray on your piece. So I'm gonna just spray it down, especially focusing on those hardware spots. I am gonna give this another clean here in just a little bit, and I'll show you why later. But right now I just wanna get the first clean on there so that we can get most of that dust and grime off, because I am gonna be filling these hardware holes. So I just need to get all of that cleaned off. So we've got my Dixie mud. I'm using brown just because it's the closest color to the actual dresser. And then the Dixie mud is just going to go right over where the hardware was. And I'll most likely need to do a couple of applications of the Dixie mud just because it oftentimes kind of sinks below the surface level. But in order for us to not be able to see those lines, we need it to be flush. So we'll definitely have to do another application, if not 3 applications. Also, kind of the thinner you put it on, the less time it takes to dry. So keep that in mind when you're waiting between. Okay, Dixie mud's on there. It's gonna dry for a little while. Again, it really just depends how long it takes to dry on how thick you put it on. So I put it pretty thin on the outskirts, but in the actual hole, that's gonna need a little bit more drying time. already sanded down the first round of Dixie mud and then applied a second coat. Like I said, sometimes you're gonna need more than one application. So now that the second coat is dry, I'm gonna go ahead and sand that down and see if we have got them all flush to the surface. It's looking very flush. I'm gonna set this up and I'm going to continue to scuff sand the top here so that we can get some adhering to the wood surface. I'm gonna go ahead and create some new hardware holes in the middle. We're just gonna go with one knob per drawer, right smack in the middle. And I'm gonna do this now because I like to do it before I get any paint on there, because chances are it will kind of mess up your paint. Sometimes I don't do it before because I haven't decided which hardware I'm using, but since I've already got a hardware in mind and I know I'm gonna go with knobs, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the hardware holes right now. I have this hardware jig, which is gonna make it really easy to drill the hole consistently on every single drawer right in the middle. Since I am gonna be just doing one, my hardware jig has just one hole right in the middle, and I'm gonna do a little bit of measuring in order to get them on there perfectly. Okay, we're good on the new hardware holes. Now I'm going to officially give this thing a clean. So this is the dirty water shot for you guys. That is with the white lightning when I cleaned it the first time. And then this is what I rinsed it with. So that tells me right there, since it's very red, that one, this had a more of a reddish stain on it, and two, that stain is coming off. So that is going to indicate to me that I need to put a stain blocking primer on this before I put my chalk paint on there so that there's no bleed through. So our next step is to let this dry, and then we will be applying some Boss. We're ready for some Boss, and I'm going to be using white Boss. I definitely want to make sure to mix it up because a lot of the times that Boss settles at the bottom, and those are some key ingredients that are going to settle down there. So definitely shake it up, mix it up, get it all mixed together so that it's going to perform its job correctly. And then I'm going to be using my oval mini, and that is going to help me apply the Boss to the entire dresser. And remember, Boss is a product that blocks odors, stops stains from popping through, and it also helps a little bit with some smells too. Finished with the coat of Boss there, so that is going to dry for a little while, and I can really tell that that is trying to block the stain. There's a few yellow spots that I am seeing, especially on the top, because that's kind of where I went down past that finish trying to get some of those scratches out. So I'll most likely do another coat of Boss here on the top, and then we'll move on to the cashmere. So now that the boss is dry, I'm gonna take my Surf Prep Rad Pad, super fine, the yellow one, and just do a light sanding across the surface. It's not really gonna get rid of the brush stroke marks, but it's going to really help smooth out the surface because I'm trying to go for a more smooth look on this one. A new paint color calls for a new paintbrush. So I'm gonna be using a brand new Dixie Belle Mini. So here's the color Cashmere. Like I said, it's kind of a creamy color, and I'm anxious to see what it looks like actually on the piece. I'm gonna dampen my brush a tad bit, and then I'm going to use my mister bottle on the furniture as well to really help me get that smooth look that I'm going for. Okay, finished up with coat number one. It is a little bit more yellowy. It has those yellow undertones. I knew it was a cream, but this is very creamy and yellowy. So I'm liking how it's looking. I'm excited to get that second coat on so we can see what it will look like with full coverage. We're back and ready for coat number two, but before we get onto that, I am gonna take my Rad Pad again and smooth out the surface so that we can get a really smooth finish. So overnight, I just had my brush in some saran wrap to keep it nice and moist. So I'm just gonna unwrap that, and we're gonna get on to coat number two. Second coat of cashmere is on there, so we're gonna let that dry and we'll see you back here for the top coat. I am going to try transfers for the very first time. I decided to choose the sunflower transfers because it's fall and who doesn't love sunflowers? Plus, the cashmere gives off a little bit of yellow hues, and I'm really liking how the sunflowers are gonna look on the dresser. And I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna keep them down here on the bottom corners, and we're just gonna do about one or maybe two small flowers down here in the corners. I think I'm gonna choose this one, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that out. Okay, I'm gonna start with this one here on the corner. So I just need to peel this backing off, and then we're going to lay it where I would like it. It's okay if it overhangs a little bit, then that part just won't get attached, which is totally fine. And then I'm gonna use this tool that actually comes in every single transfer tube and use it from the outside toward the inside and just kind of press it down like you're making it attached to that surface. And you can kind of start to peel it up to see if you are sticking or if you need to put some more pressure on any spots. My first transfer. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, now I don't want there to just be one random sunflower over here, so I think I am gonna go ahead and apply another one to kind of complement it. Okay, first two transfers are on. I'm gonna head over to that side now and we're gonna get two more on there and then we'll set it up and see how it looks. All right, looks like the transfers are on, and from the looks of it, laying down, I like it. And I think, especially since I'm easing into the transfers, I'm gonna say the less is more. Let's see how it looks. I'm gonna go ahead and set this up, and we're gonna put a top coat on it, and then put the hardware in. We're gonna go easy with the top coat today and use the Easy Peasy Spray Wax. So all that means is we've got to spray it on and then buff it out with a microfiber cloth. Well, I went out picking, as you can see, and I actually used 3 other of the new line of colors, and this is Merlot, this is Pumpkin Spice, and this is Latte. And I painted some mason jars with them because I thought that they would look cool as vases. So I went out around our property and I got some wildflowers. I'm not really too good at this. I mean, I've never really done it before, but I'm just gonna try to, you know, stage some flowers here and see what happens. You only get better by trying. And I'm so glad that I was able to showcase cashmere for you guys. What a perfect start to fall with the sunflowers and the new fall colors from Dixie Belle. If you haven't already, head over to their website and check them all out because you are going to absolutely love them. And I forgot to mention, they also have a new Big Mama's Butter, which is the scent of flannel, and it is just one of the most amazing smells, and it has kind of a woodsy feel to it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and learned a couple of things. Get after it, keep on flipping and making and creating. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the flip side.